happy that I beat you to that one because if I turn the top one on, that makes my armpit be a part of the bottom one. It is very strategic of me. I'm just saying, it was a proud moment.
I can't talk for 30 seconds.
Why?
Because Facebook's going to take that picture. I'll talk like a ventriloquist. Everyone knows that we can select our own photo on YouTube. YouTube lets you select the photo you want to use for your thumbnail. Facebook doesn't do that. They just take a picture at random somewhere in the first minute of your live. So for a whole minute, I have to sit here smiling, semi-smiling.
And barely talking.
Just watch what happens.
It's like the longest moment of your life.
Yes. Just wait and see what happens, though, because you're going to notice that they'll snap that picture and they'll put that for the thumbnail.
So I should do something absolutely absurd right now so it catches it in
we
the
don't
first
we don't
minute.
know what they're going to do. We don't know when they're going to catch it.
What if I tried to do that? You think that's going to be the thumbnail?
I don't know, Jamie, but can we go and get started? I think we're good now.
Yes.
Woo! Hey, folks, Lester and Jamie here. Happy Sunday. And it is my dad. You all know him as Paw. It's his birthday. And so you guys make sure that if you follow my dad's page, you say hi to him and wish him a happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Paw.
And yeah, happy birthday, Dad. And so I know they had a big birthday shindig. I saw a lot of cars over there. Lex and Ellie slept right through it. Ellie, I love Ellie, but when I woke up this morning, Jamie and I had to wake up really early and go over to Longhorn Lester's. We had some jobs to do before the sun came out. It's hot. It's gotten hot fast this year. And we had some jobs to get knocked out early. And we get up at 7 o'clock or so. And I walk to the house and I swear I heard talking in Ellie's room. And I walk in there and he's up. And I thought he had like some kind of event to go to because he does coach and he also plays sports. And I'm like, hey, son, you off to an event? But he was actually on his game. He was talking on his game system. And I says, what are you doing? He goes, I hadn't fallen asleep yet. I'm like, so it was no surprise to find out that Lex got up and made it to mom and dad's for the birthday party, and Ellie slept right through it. So I think Ellie's over there right now, showing some love.
Ellie gets a one-on-one birthday party.
Ellie gets one-on-one.
She might follow
with my
in
dad.
Someone's, footsteps there.
Right.
A little bit.
What? Anywho, I need a pat on the back, Jamie. I need a pat on the back. On my way home this morning from Longhorn Lester's, I passed by another Longhorn ranch that I always enjoy going by, and I go real slow and I kind of look at all the Longhorns. And what I noticed this morning was a Longhorn in distress. I noticed a Longhorn heifer was in distress. I will not give you all of the details because I made a video. I used someone else's cows. I climbed through someone else's fences. I walked through someone else's herd of Longhorns to perform a rescue on a distressed Longhorn. But what?
But you asked for permission.
I did all of those things. You didn't hear me say I had to say that part for the video. And so
I didn't want anybody to freak out.
Let them freak out, Jamie. Let them freak out. Let them freak out. Because you know what? We got an email from somebody that told me exactly why I should just relax and let y'all freak out. Because y'all freaking out is actually another pat on my back. Jamie, I'm going to let you talk and say hi. And please tell them about that email. Oh, I sit here and gloat.
So I got this email from this really sweet lady. I think she was from Australia. And she said, I got kind of wrapped up in the cucumber mess the other day. She goes, but I thought about it really long and hard because how could I get so someone who's never grown anything in my life gets so wrapped up about cucumbers? And she goes, what I realized was that you all are such great storytellers that you've captivated the audience that's watching your videos and you've made them feel a part of the story. So the story is so convincing, whether it's full truth, partial truth, whatever the case is,
or entertainment only.
Well, that's what she meant when I say full truth, partial truth. Like some of Lester's things can be a little exaggerated. I know we're all shocked, but the piece of it that was like an aha moment, and I read it, I'm like, actually, that's really completely accurate because that story, that 10-minute, 20-minute, whatever video that you're watching that day is so emotionally provoking. that you're entangled in it, and the response is, whether you're mad at him or mad at me or hate his voice or hate my voice, hate the way I laugh, whatever the case is, it's because you got into the story, and you analyze the villain, the protagonist, the antagonist side of it, and you connected with one of them and you chose a side, which makes it a excellent story.
Yeah.
Cheers and wow to that lady for.
Let's toast to that one right there. She really saved me from I was having quite the pity party, the self-pity party, and those are the worst kind. It's one thing when you feel bad for somebody else, but when you feel sorry for yourself. And after that cucumber video, I hope that played on both platforms by now, and I don't think it has played on.
I don't think it played on Facebook
So
yet.
Facebook, you might be a little bit off, but there was a video that set a lot of people's inner demons on me. They set a lot of inner demons on me. And I think that I was the internet's most hated internet guy that day.
That's true.
But ultimately,
don't worry. Can I interject just a little bit right here?
Yes, please do.
Oh, I got payback, and it's coming in a video this week, and I'm so excited about it because, no, I wasn't mad. I don't have to get mad. I just got even.
I can't wait. But what the lady said was so true, and her email came at a very good time because I'm sitting there, Jami and I, well, everybody who has an internet page, even for you guys who, if you only have, your Facebook, you know how mean people can be in a simple Facebook comment. A simple Facebook comment can be so mean. And so ultimately, when you have an internet page where your videos are seen by a few people, you can multiply that kind of grows exponentially of how many mean folks can be out there. And unfortunately, I still like to read comments, but just whereas you can read comments to kind of build you up, I read a few that day that kind of like made me kind of like step back. And Jami told me, she goes, how come everyone else, Ellie, her, Jake, all of them can read comments and not let them affect them? Yet I can read negative comments and it just greatly affects me. It puts me into a funk. And so lo and behold, if we don't get an email from a lady who kind of explained the way she saw it, saying that she was like everyone else. When she watched my video, she completely bought into the role that I had chose to play that particular day as the antagonist, the bad guy of the story.
Let's call you the cucumber villain.
The villain, yeah. Every good story, and this is true. Think about every fictional story that there's one thing in common. Well, there's a lot of things in common. You have characters, you have a conflict, and then you have a resolution. And so in all of my videos, that I try to follow that same pattern of what I learned back when I was teaching school. And I, that day, was the antagonist. I was the bad guy. Some days it's Tex. Some days it's Pig Trudy. Some days it's Carl. But a good story has a bad guy. And I don't mind playing the bad guy. And I guess I played the bad guy it reminds me of the old TV show Dallas and J.R. Ewing. Oh, everyone loved Bobby Ewing. Everyone loved Bobby, and everyone loved the Ewings except for JR, that sorry SOB. And so JR played a really good role. Were you too young to remember Dallas?
Yeah, I didn't know.
Oh my God, Jami. Guys, Dallas. And everyone hated JR. But that just goes to show you, what an amazing actor he was. Larry Hagman, I think is his real name, to be so hated on TV, yet be a really good guy in real life. And unfortunately, a lot of times people on the internet forget that Jami and I make videos for entertainment purposes. And well, Jami does a lot of educational videos. I don't. Most of mine are just to get an emotion out of you. And playing the bad guy is sometimes fun. And I set it up and I play it out and boy, I took some heat that day. But it's all good. Anyway, someone says, stop feeding the trolls. Guys, I can feed whoever I want to. It's my channel. So trolls, if you don't realize this, even negative comments, are still positive when it comes to the way Facebook and YouTube look at things.
Somebody says on here, but who really did kill JR?
He probably shot himself from all the comments he was reading on his character comments. I can't handle. I don't want to play this.
There probably weren't any comments. There were probably like written letters. Like, think about that. Like, before social media, and there was no place to have that outlet. Did people just sit down and write a letter about it all? Like, how did that work?
So. They probably wrote letters to whoever TV show that was on. But you know, Ellie and Lex both have always been into the WWE wrestling, and we've watched our favorite wrestlers evolve through time, and the WWE is real smart about how they can build someone to be this great guy, this great hero, and all of a sudden he can do something villainous and become the most hated wrestler in all of the WWE. But what's clever about how they market all of that is it continues the saga. And how long has the WWE been on? 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. And so people, you know, are onto something when they realize that you can take a sporting event that's not real, but
don't be crushing dreams here.
I don't want to crush any dreams. Everyone knows though that professional wrestling is a lot of acting and good. So there's some good actors, and you can take John Cena, for example, who has been legendary, and then he can find himself where everyone hates him. And that's just kind of a role that they have created. And so I am going to start smiling and laughing as I read the comments, and all of the negative Nellies are getting on to me. I'm just going to say, you know what? I'm brilliant. I'm a brilliant storyteller and an even better actor, Jamie, because I can really get them going. And I like that.
Is this where you're going to say that you're also acting when you cry?
No, I'm also very emotional though. So
that's where I was going with this. I don't want people to think that all of it is like whatever you thought to write about today. When I say write, is create about today. There are just as many raw emotions that come out of you.
Well, here's the thing. Pictures don't lie. Pictures don't lie. Sometimes, you know, everyone knows, especially in the political world that we live in, that people can create narratives. Okay. So your news media, especially depending on what news source you watch, they all have a narrative. They want you to follow their storyline. And so video creating is no different. There's a storyline that we have behind our videos. But when you begin to enter characters into your videos, like our animals or like our family members, or when you begin to enter, you know, real life situations like the Hurricane Harvey and the purchase of Longhorn Lessers and different things that all become part of your story. Yeah, you can sometimes tie in old emotions and feelings and hurt feelings and positive feelings and things to make you laugh and make you cry and just all kinds of stuff. But talking about some things you can't hide and you can't imagine, can I talk about the rash and my inners?
You can talk about that. I thought you were going to talk about something about me. Carry on.
Oh, well, I'm going to go there too. You know what?
I know.
I didn't know. I thought you would like it if I would just skip that part.
I thought that's what you were going to. Never mind.
Well, let's go ahead and talk about it then.
I need you. Talk about the rash.
We'll get to the rash. We'll get to the rash. But first, can we go ahead and get to more important farm news? But everyone knows that we've all had to deal with a bad haircut from time to time. We've all had to deal with a bad haircut from time to time. There's not a one of us. Well, I'm done with those days. But there was a time in my life when we would end up going somewhere getting a bad haircut. You all made quite the laughing stock out of me last weekend when I gave Ernie his haircut. And you just could not wait for Jamie to go ahead and go out there with Annie and show you how it's done. Well, guess what? Poor Jamie. I joke. She got a bad haircut right now. Let me show everybody something. Bend your head down a little bit. Now, I want everyone to notice this little poof of hair right here. Jamie, allow me to give you a little.
Can I just?
Is that an alfalfa? Not really an alfalfa. Is that a Lionel Richie?
It's like
Jamie has a little bit of little Michael Jackson, little curl.
It's a Jerry unicorn, curl. Clearly. Look at it.
So that wasn't from a haircut necessarily. That was from Pebbles. You want to tell the story of your hair? You tell the story about your hair, and then I'll talk about our adventure with Annie yesterday.
I was helping Sissy get her head out of the fence. And here I thought Pebbles was like just being the supportive goat next to me. And I'm very focused on Sissy's head. And that's when I realized that Pebbles ate my hair all the way.
So what goats are known to do is start chewing on hair, and they will actually swallow it. And so there's been many times where they've swallowed, and you have to pull it out of your throat, out of their throat, and it comes out with just this horrible stuff all over it. And Jami has both of her hands focused on doing a goat rescue.
No camera, anything like it.
No
was
camera.
That,
it was both hands on horns.
It was a sincere stuck.
Pebbles runs up to show some love, as so Jami thought, and with all that hair hanging down, Pebbles thought this will be fun. So she starts doing that typical normal chewing thing, because goats chew on everything. And if when Jami doesn't pull, she realized that there was nothing to pull. Pebbles actually had got enough of it where she actually bit it off. And so now Jami has a little Michael Jackson hanging.
The worst part is like normally it stands straight up just like this, which is really it's a really special thing. But you know, I slick it down and
kind of something about Mary-ish.
It's very something about Mary-ish. I just pull a comb over for the next year.
Yeah,
it's gonna be great. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be totally fine.
Yesterday we did attempt to give Annie her annual haircut, shearing, alpaca shearing, and in years past, I think that even though Annie's always been, a little bit more difficult because she spits and so sometimes fight, this year she was extremely agitated, and
instantly. It wasn't like there was no like progressive, and in the beginning, usually she's very defiant. Then she lets us do it, and then she's over it, and she wants to be done. This year was defiant and aggressive towards us from the beginning.
And so without giving it away, because of course I want to make sure people watch your video without us telling the whole story of it here.
I'm so
sorry. Listen to me. Annie was being overprotective of herself for a good reason, for what we think is a really neat reason. So you have to watch that video when it comes out. I don't think you've built it yet, because I've been listening to you.
I started right before.
Did you start? Okay.
But there's an hour and a half of footage.
It's an hour and a half worth of footage, so it's going to be quite the video. There won't be that long of a video. Jami will cut out all of her cursing, and she'll probably cut out. No, she'll probably leave me cursing. So which is fine, because hey, I
actually don't know if you curse, but
Yes.
I was not the best version of myself.
Man, YouTube commenters are on the ball. Look at everybody. So listen, there's nothing official, because we've not had a vet out to officialize anything. Officialize, is that a word? There's been no vet out to officialize, confirm
our suspicions.
But man, was Annie being super protective, and it's really cute how she was doing it. Yeah. And so we did give Annie a haircut.
It is not.
But guess what? All I'm going to say is I think Ernie may win this year. And you know how bad Ernie looks. But I still think Ernie won this year. And I'm so lucky I drew his name. Woo!
What I will say is that she's safe. She's well, and she's cooler. And that was, Lester had to remind me a few times that was the goal, because I was not happy with the product. I'll just say that.
No, Lester had to step in and just say, it's over. Let her go. It's over. Because Jami was just trying to do the little finesse. She just could not lose. Jami could not lose to me and Ernie.
It wasn't that.
Okay. Okay. It wasn't that. Okay. So, Jami said a little while ago that, we can play narratives and we can play roles and everything else. But yesterday I got into some goat fencing project on a side of the pasture that I have been avoiding for as long as I possibly could, because there is a lot of poison ivy or poison oak or poison something that grows over there. And it's crazy how allergic I am to that. Now, not everyone has the same allergic reactions to things as others. And living here, there are a couple of spots where I've dealt with poison ivy, poison oak, especially when I weed eat the driveway. And even though I never actually make contact with the poison ivy or poison oak, whatever it is, just by the weed eater chopping through it and putting the dust into the air, it begins to affect different parts of your body where it comes into contact with your body. And so I dressed up. I wore boots and I wore long pants and I wore everything I had to wear working along that part of the pasture yesterday. But what I did not protect are my lungs, my inners. And so just by driving around, doing a lot of augering and post hole digging, and just dragging fences and moving concrete and all of the movement, I guess I kicked up enough to where I had inhaled so much of whatever toxins they let off. What's wrong?
Nothing.
And when I tell you what, my entire face was just pouring out of every opening in my face. And my eyes were watering. What? My nose was running.
You said my entire face was pouring out of all my openings.
My entire face was pouring out of all of my openings. It was, Jamie. I felt like my face was just melting off, like Indiana Jones, Temple of Doom. And so I
laugh now. It was actually scary.
Well, because then I couldn't breathe.
Yeah.
And so Jamie and I jumped in the car and had to haul Bud over to Dollar General and get me some Benadryl.
Yeah.
So
he pre-treated with Allegra, which is a great allergy med, but he needed something way more for instantaneous. And it scared me, actually, to the extent that I was like, I should drive. Let me drive. No, I'll be fine. Anyway.
I'm good now.
Yeah,
everything's fine.
Benadryl to the rescue.
We did go back today, but today I was smart and I wore a covering to protect me from breathing in all of those horrible toxins. And so I know that a lot of folks are going to say, wait, that's your goat pasture? You're going to expose goats to all of that? Guys, goats will eat the heck out of that. And they will, goats and Sister Kim, they can roll around in that stuff. They can roll around. Kim can make her a bed. When Kim was younger, she could take poison ivy and poison oak and make herself a crown and wear it like she was all royalty or something, like the queen, and be fine. Yet she'd take me and wrap me up in it, and I would just break out and have hives and all kinds of rashes all over me. So different people, it affects different people in different ways. And I'm one who I do not do well around poison ivy and poison oak. But the goats that will be in that pasture will be fine. They will be fine. Yeah. So they'll eat that stuff up, and they're actually going to help us with that problem, because we could go by and spray it, but it's going to kill everything else that we don't want to have everything dead. We want to have nice, green, beautiful pastures. But that's the kind of stuff that goats thrive on. So not to worry about the goats. They're going to be good. And it was Lester that has a couple more jobs to do along that stretch. So I'm going to have to just take care of myself. But no, it was scary. It was scary when you could just feel that your lungs were like constricted. And I mean, it wasn't like deathly, guys. It wasn't like we're calling 911. No, I wasn't gasping.
But I could hear that he was.
And I could not cough it up.
He was congested, and it was just not getting better. So
the good news is it was gone as fast as it kicked on. As soon as I took that Benadryl, an hour later, I was fine. I was tired. I was sleepy. Yeah. But I was fine. So everything is good now.
It wasn't even EpiPen worthy for people that are saying to get an EpiPen. It wasn't like that. It wasn't like an anaphylactic, like instant reaction piece. It was progressive, and I watched, and he took a shower, which usually helps him, because this isn't the
poison sumac.
Poison sumac is the one that I showed you that has like the tiny leaves coming off of it.
Yeah, I don't know if we're dealing with that over there. Yeah. And I don't even know the difference in poison ivy and poison oak.
5 and 3 leaves.
Okay.
I do. We have it all, actually. And maybe some other things that I haven't truly identified yet. I've been a plant identifying fool since somebody told me about the app. So I've been out there taking pictures. I found, this is something that I haven't even told you yet. We have a wild grapevine growing, which I'm kind of excited about, because I have no idea what it's going to produce. But there's a lot of really neat plants that are growing out there that are.
Well, just know that wild grapes if it's like the kind of grapes we get in the back, like little berries.
No, there's berries.
Good. Okay.
But there's actually grapes.
So those are called muscadines, and they're like a grape, but they're called muscadine. And don't ask me how to spell that. You ever heard of a muscadine?
Yeah.
Oh, that's not what you're saying?
No, there's muscadine out there too.
Oh, so I've seen the muscadine bush. I've never
Yes.
seen any grapes.
Yes.
And we don't want berries because berries are stickers. I know you like to eat berries, but I don't.
kind of like the berries.
Oh Lord, boy.
There's just a lot of neat things, but what I'm saying is that
muscadine.
He's definitely allergic to oak and ivy, probably sumac as well. But it blew my mind the most because you weren't out there cutting it. Like normally when he does stuff here in the driveway and he weed eats and all that stuff's blowing around, that's how it happened. So yesterday digging, I guess it was turning it up enough that.
Well, I was driving my four-wheeler back and forth over it, making trips. I was, doing fencing. So you're back and forth and you're digging and you're moving and everything's dry and dusty. So I'm just imagining as you would drive over, it would just kick up all the dust. And then of course, when you're augering, so. But yeah, I'm going to be smarter. I'm going to have to be a lot smarter with all of that. And I will be. Yeah, I can make some foolish mistakes, but I've learned my lesson from that one because that was pretty scary. But all is good now. So thank y'all. What else we got, Jami Cakes?
Ooh, a lot of people were asking about the baby chick from my Tuesday Night Live. He did not make it, sadly. He lived to be another 24 hours after that, but I actually learned that after further inspection, he kind of had a journey effect. One of his wings was shorter than the other. One of his legs were shorter than the other. And he had kind of a cleft palate. So his beak was not right either, which meant that his insides probably weren't. And that was probably why mom rejected him. And for all the mean people that said, why on earth would you try to save that?
That's what she does.
That's me. So.
Don't forget, Jami has an MO when it comes to animals and people in her life. Jami is a fixer by nature. Jami is a fixer. And if you, without getting into all the details, because I'm sure Jami doesn't want her entire
really? I'm like, this is going to go on the live. Great.
No, this is not bad. This is a human character trait. It's a character trait that you should not be ashamed of. But there are people in life that just want to help and fix if they can. And so Jami is a natural fixer. But the bad thing about that is that Jami has found herself in relationships. Can I just say relationships? Yeah. Where you did not fall for the relationship for the traditional ways that you fall. You fall because someone needs you. And you come in and you fix. And so, hey, I just speak for myself when I would say I was pretty darn broken when you came into my life. And you haven't got me fixed quite yet. But
you're my biggest project. Let's be honest.
I am her biggest project. I am the one that may make her. I take pride in that, y'all, because Jami has fixed a lot of people, and she's getting closer with me. She's getting closer.
No,
but I think that's cute that I'm her biggest project. So good. I'm glad to hear that.
Whatever.
But no, Jami's always been the fixer. And so not only is she the fixer in human terms, but she's also been a fixer when it comes to animals. And when we get one who's down, and it's hard for Jami to ever just accept that you can't fix everything. And as hard as that is to even talk about, we have babies, animals who sometimes you just can't fix them. You can try and you can try and you can try. And a lot of folks who might have been the ones saying the mean things is just how ridiculous it is. It's kind of like when we had to resuscitate Maggie's baby. Yeah. We come in from outdoors and there's Maggie had laid on top of one of her puppies. And it wasn't breathing. And so Jami and I we sprung into action, and I was able to give the puppy CPR and resuscitate it. I think that on YouTube, that video got like 6 million, 7 million views and a lot of comments. But you do know that a lot of the comments were, there was a reason that mother laid on that puppy. Stop trying to play God. And so ultimately what I saw was a puppy that mom had laid on top of and suffocated. And I was able to resuscitate it. And so it was that was my way of being a fixer for a little puppy that I thought was accidentally laid on. But even if Maggie or animals do sometimes, do that to their own young for whatever reason that they can sense, it doesn't mean that we as humans have to give up on them as well.
Right.
And so that little pup ended up going to an amazing home where she is having the best life ever. And she would not have been able to live that life and be such an inspiration to the kids who play with her and the parents her humans if we were not able to save her. So, but no, a lot of folks say that when don't stop trying to play God and you let Mother Nature take care of itself. But man, the human in you sometimes takes over and you just try your best. And Jamie's one of those kind of people. So the puppy did not make it.
No, the chicken.
The chicken did not make it. I'm sorry, I'm reading the comments about and how's the puppy now?
No, the puppy's great. The puppy's like
the chick did not
3,
make it though.
But that chick did not make it.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, if y'all have not seen that video, it's on YouTube. It's if you go to YouTube and you click on the I'm a Survivor page and you click when you can sort the videos by most popular, it's the #1 because it has more views than any of the other videos. So it was a scary day and also just probably one of the greatest days of your life when you were just at that just moment of feeling that lifeless puppy.
It was wild. Well, I just remember that we thought that there was just no chance, but here we are just trying and trying and trying. And I certainly had no idea what I was doing. You had some experience from raising animals with your dad.
We've had to do that with baby goats, especially when one is born breeched. And so a lot of y'all may know the story of Meg's very first baby goat, which this is before we were doing videos. But Meg, that's the Hurricane Harvey survivor goat, Meg, her very first baby was born breeched and had stopped breathing. And so Jamie and we were doing, I don't know what it was, WhatsApp or whatever we were doing back in those days, communicating with each other. And so she had to talk me through getting that baby out of mama and then trying to resuscitate and then bringing the little goat back to life, which was a beautiful, beautiful story. And that was my first time of actually doing it. But watching my dad do it with calves, that were born breeched or goats. I don't know if my dad's ever done it with a puppy or not. But hey, even in that video though, do you know that there were so many, talking about commenters again, I'm just remembering that there were so many commenters about how I was doing it wrong. That's not how you give a dog CPR. Oh my God.
You literally watch the dog not be alive and come back to life, and then
oh my goodness, that was not the way to do CPR to an animal. Because I'm not going to.
We didn't have time to Google.
No.
I can tell you that. There was no time. And the timing of us walking back in was something really big too.
Hey, I'll tell you what, it worked.
It did.
So what we did worked. We put air into that baby's lungs. We stimulated and we pumped that heart back to life. So it might not have been the right way. It might could have been done faster or easier, but it got done. So we got her done that day, Jamie.
A lot of people are asking about Carl's eggs.
I want you to talk about Carl's eggs.
Well, so Lester and I have been doing a lot of research and speaking to a few zoos.
Talk about Tina's eggs too when you do this, and talk about what's going to happen and how amazing this is going to happen.
Okay.
When they finally become into one collective group.
So
you got a lot to talk about.
Apparently. So Carl's eggs obviously are just Debbie's at this time because Debbie is the only female in that pasture. But we learned that whole when Debbie goes over and does the check thing, that's not really analyzing Carl and Carl's work. She's making sure that they're still viable, #1, but she's also checking to make sure that they're hers and that no one else's have been included, because Debbie is considered Carl's first wife or head bird or the top lady, however
she's just the dominant female.
Yeah,
she's the dominant female. Yeah.
So if there were other ostriches, other females in there, they would all lay in that same nest.
Well, that has to happen pretty soon. I know, and I'm not sure how you all are going to feel about this, but Tina is laying eggs, a lot of eggs. And so we've been taking those eggs and letting Sister Kim have them. But the thing is, I think that she's hanging out at the fence. She's dropping her wings because she wants to be fertilized. Can I say it that way?
Date.
She wants to be dated?
Yeah.
She wants to date?
Yeah. She'd like to go on a date with Carl.
Okay, so Tina wants to go on a date with Carl. But Jamie and I have been watching a lot of videos about what to expect when you have more than one female, because like Jamie said, all these eggs now are all Debbie's. But now that Tina's laying eggs and she won't leave that fence, we're going to have to reintroduce her again and see how that goes.
After they're done right now.
Yeah. But we're excited because we found out that when you have two hens that are laying eggs, you're still going to have Carl being the protector, playing the fatherly role of the eggs, but the dominant female will sort the eggs. She will come by and put her eggs in the center where they can be the most protected, and she'll push Tina's eggs out to the side where they may or may not make it. Isn't that crazy?
And we found out that the weight loss in Carl is very natural.
Oh, we're not near as concerned today as we were a week or two ago when we were like really worried about Carl. Now, we've done a lot. We've found a lot. We've been directed. Thank you to a lot of you who have sent us to the right people. Yeah. And so that's why we read comments, because even though you can get some mean ones, you get some very helpful ones also.
That's true.
So thank you all who have sent us the resources to help. And we found
we're in a better place there. We still don't have any intention of raising ostriches or anything like baby ostrich. Like that's not the goal. But naturally, they say that they should go through this. They should go through this already. Like they need to know what to do and how to follow through with this. It's very unlikely that they truly will hatch because it is indeed a humidity thing that will make it, but they need to be the ones to finalize it. So that's where we're at right now.
Yeah. And so I would be curious. I would love if they could hatch a few, because I would love to see that, have that experience of seeing the babies, because they come out of mom. They don't, when they hatch, they're like chicks. Even though mom may hang around or dad may hang around to protect them from predators, they don't need mom or dad to live because they find their own food from the egg, which is pretty awesome.
It's very similar like to other feathered animals. They don't, if a mom is there, or in ostrich world, if dad is there to provide the guidance of this is how you do this, this is how that's great, but they don't need them to feed them like turkeys or mammals, really. So they're pretty unique in that range.
Yeah, it's pretty unique. We've had a lot of neat experiences. Sometimes it just seems so surreal when you walk out and there's an ostrich. Like I'm quoting Jamie's title, there's an ostrich in my backyard. But you walk out there and you're sitting there with all of these littles. We call them all of our littles, or these little goats are all over the place, and there's little pigs rubbing their snouts up against your leg, and look, everyone wants their attention. And also here comes this big ostrich with her wings doing her thing and long legs, and you're looking up at her and she's just like, hey, what's for dinner? And it's like, there's an ostrich in my backyard, and look, there's one right over there, and there's over there, and there's over there. A little while ago, when I'd come back from Longhorn Lester's, I'd come around the side of the house and I saw I saw Wanda walking towards the church. And I looked, and there's all these kids playing volleyball. And Wanda was curious. She wanted to go see what was going on. And so
Wanda's very curious.
I watch her walk along the fence line. So I'm sitting there watching, and I know what's going to happen. I know kids are going to want to come over to get selfies. And you can just watch the cell phones come out of their purses and their pockets. And I'm sitting there watching, and Wanda walks along that fence line, and her wings get all fluffy, and she does a little dance. And all these kids, the ball just boop, boop, and rolls away. All these kids are just glued on watching Wanda. And they all run over, and they all get out their cameras, and you can see them sitting there doing taking like selfies, and I'm like, just don't put your hands or your fingers over that fence because it's so scary.
Yeah, that's the part, because if a kid does put their hands, obviously the ostriches don't have teeth, but they'll still try to like, hey, what are you offering me?
Yeah, what are you offering me?
And then we don't want the kids to feed them anything we don't know about, obviously, or just anything at all. But then when the kid screams and reacts, then the ostrich gets defensive. So
Yeah.
it's fun, but it's also.
But think about the experience that, even though this is not, but think about the kids who are over there, especially the little kids, the little bitty ones who can't even look over the fence, but they run up to the fence and there's this giant bird. And so if you're like me, most people have never had a chance to experience in real life an ostrich. You may have seen them on TV or some kind of a video or a movie. If you've ever gone to a zoo, you might have seen them from a distance. And of course, if you've ever gone through a drive-through exotic animal park, you may have seen some out there. Have you done that before?
No.
But but most people have never had a chance to be one-on-one with an ostrich. And so it's a really neat experience. But
I certainly hadn't until
I surprised you with Carl.
Pulled up with an ostrich in my backyard.
Well, how many people can say they have been kicked, they have been chest bumped, they have been pecked, they've had their ear ripped apart? I exaggerate, obviously. We've had some fun with Carl, but Carl will be going to Longhorn Lester's. Y'all do know that. And Carl will be going. We've made this video already, so don't act like you're surprised. Carl will be taking that trip with Tina and with Debbie, but we are leaving Wanda here to be a part of our little. She'll remain a little. Wanda will never be able to fully function in the ostrich pasture with all of the running and the chasing. Can I just say chasing, or the dating? We don't say dating again.
Dating.
Wanda, with her little leg issue, will never be able to keep up with all of the dating.
Wouldn't it be
activities
special though if we had a male that had a leg issue or something at one point in time, and he was also slow and could date on Wanda's speed?
Because it doesn't matter. A male is a male is a male, and they can find the power to, well, I said a while ago, kick and chest bump and peck. And so we are not bringing any more ostrich males around here.
I know we're not doing it. I just said it would be neat.
And we already said if any of ours ever do hatch, we'll watch them and love them until they're about a year old, and then they're going to Arms Family Homestead or Cog Hill. Mary Carl, who you all love so much, can have herself her very own male Carl, and we'll see how much fun that would be for those farms. So anyway, what else we got here, babe? Oh, your merch sales.
Yeah, so shirts and tumblers are still for sale till the 10th for anybody who's looking for them. The link is on our Facebook page. It is the first post on the I'm a Survivor Facebook page, and the tumbler is in the comments. And if you reply to that post and you need help, there are some really wonderful friends and family in that post who have been helping other folks. So I appreciate that as well.
That's another thing about commenting and commenters, is that I can sometimes focus on the negative, and I shouldn't, but I do. But it's true. For every negative comment, there's 300 very loving, positive, and supporting people that are out there to help.
Fireball's at the door.
Oh, I heard someone knocking, and it's our cat knocking on the glass, the storm door to come in. Keep talking, Jamie. I'll be right back.
Yes. So what Lester was saying about the comments and people helping others catch up, because everybody, I think, stepped in at different times, maybe different times in their life, different times in our lives. And there's a lot of history here. There's an insane amount of videos. And for those that actually do get caught up and go back to the beginning, wow, just wow. But for those that can't, it's really nice that there are people who have been following for quite some time who are able to bring others up to speed. And we appreciate it so much when you can do it in a nice way, because there are a lot of questions about, things that probably sound redundant, but not everybody, like I said, got here at the same time. And maybe not everybody remembers everything either, because it's a lot since the beginning now. Like, this isn't just 6 months ago anymore. Yeah. I remember when it felt like it was very recent. And now even things that have happened, I'll say something like, no, that's not been 6 months ago or last year. That was 3 years ago. And holy cow, it just, time is flying.
Time is flying. But yeah, so Jamie has found a way to what they call pin that at the top of Facebook. So you don't have to look hard. If you do want to buy the merch, it's only there for another week, you said?
Till the 10th.
Till the 10th, so 10 days. And remember that all of the merchandise goes directly into our Inc., which is the nonprofit. And so that's not going to be money going to Longhorn Lester's or anything else. And so that's what I love about the Facebook supporters and the merchandise sales and any donations. They all go directly to the Inc., which that money stays right here at I'm a Survivor for feed. Vet bills is a big one.
Direct care.
Yeah. So, well, it's done things. It's helped build a barn. It's helped dig a pond or 2 or 3. And it's built a lot of fences, 15 acres of fences here that we've built since Hurricane Harvey. And now we are close to completing 20 acres of fencing over at Longhorn Lester's. And my joke in that is that people say, hold on, I made a video posted today on YouTube. And the reactions and comments to it are hilarious because there was a fun lady, a really nice lady, who made a comment about, why do I always post fencing videos? And I have to laugh because I have spent a lot of my life, I feel like these last 4 years, building fences. And fences are necessary to keep your animals in, y'all. If we didn't have animals, then I wouldn't be making fencing videos. But in order to have animals, especially animals that like to hit fences like goats and bulls, it requires you just build strong fences. And so I spent the last month of my life over at Longhorn Lester's building fences. There's not a day goes by. I can't remember a day that I haven't been out there fence building. So what I've begun to do, because I know that so many people come for the animals, I get that. I totally get that because I would never watch a fence building video. So I try to include a little bit of my morning when I do my morning feed up of the animals. And then I go over and I do some fence building.
Well, hold on a second.
And then I come back and do animals. So if you want animals, you got to watch a little bit of fence building in the middle.
Fence building is part of your day, but I don't think that each and every video is about how to build a fence. I know that it's not. I think that a lot of it is just about life and the things going on and how to do the bunny hop and other things like that. But I joked today as we were out there working on fences of how far it's come. And I don't mean just Longhorn Lester's. I mean how far our fence capabilities have come.
Oh, we're good.
Because
we're real good.
If you go back and look in chronological order, even here at the sanctuary, about where we started and where they are today, I can tell you, we don't put the old one out front. The oldest fence, the fence that I helped build, that the oldest fence is still standing, I should say.
It's
that
still standing.
I helped build, is back behind Aunt Joanne and Uncle Raleigh's. And I'll tell you what, I did not own boots. I was still in white Nikes at that point in time, building my first barbed wire fence. First time I ever touched barbed wire in my whole entire life. And here's Lester and I trucking down what felt like boggy, swamp, muddy area with a garden rake handle, holding this wheel of barbed wire side by side. I flew here to do that, first of all. Like, I flew here to spend time with him, and he's like, hey, would you be okay with, like, building a fence with me? Sure, I would love to. I would love to learn how to build a fence.
You had no idea what you were getting yourself into.
Blood, sweat, and tears later. Yeah. That's all I'll say.
Hey, you're still here.
And so's that fence.
And so's that fence. Someone says, Lester, you do build a great fence, but what's up with your gates? Now, hold on a minute.
Those have come a long way too. Like, a really long way.
Hold on, Jamie. Hold on. I think that what they're saying is it's awesome that you can build a great fence. However, until you can find somebody who can make you a decent gate, you're still the fence does no good, because they must have noticed that Tex and Moses have been going at it a couple of times this past week. There have been videos about that. And all I can do is say, pat myself on the back and the shoulder, because they didn't get through my fences. They came through someone else's gates. And so, yes, gate builders need to figure out a way to improve their gates. I even bought a bulletproof gate. And so Tex didn't break the gate. First day, he popped it off the hinges. The second day, he popped the chain off of the latching system. But that poor gate at my dad's place, he just crushed it to the ground. It was a cheaper aluminum gate.
He folds those like paper clips.
Yeah, so I'm going to have to, as far as that situation goes, we don't have long before we start moving cows over. We don't. So I know I keep saying that, but we are so close
We're really
to
close.
moving cows over. And I talked about that on my live on Friday. So I'm not going to repeat all that again, but we are very, very close to moving cows over. And that whole situation back behind here with Moses or anything else will be over. And I'm so excited about that. And none of our neighbors have cows, so not to worry. But we're still building strong fences because we know how to.
Oh yeah.
And we've learned a lot about fence building. But we're still buying those same kind of gates. So let's hope that hope that no neighbors come up and get cows or longhorns, heifers anyway.
So the other trick is though, and this is something we talked about when we were building the back fence line for Tex originally. He knows where the gate is. So I told Lester, I was like, we're just gonna move the gate. Because if that's the weakest part and he knows that it's in this area, if your fences are stronger, move the gate. He'll eventually figure it out though, because he sees us go through it and whatnot. But the bull gate was a good idea.
Yeah.
And it's nice to know that they make those.
Yeah. So a couple of questions over here that are just popping up bold is that you're asking about how are we going to move Tex, and so that is still
TBD.
Yeah, but what I have said is kind of the way I feel. Excuse me, about us being the ones who sheared Annie and Ernie.
Yeah.
There is, even though we're not perfect and we have a lot to learn, we know that their demeanor is a lot calmer around us than it is around strangers.
Yes.
And so I kind of feel the same way about Tex. I don't know exactly if I'll have to rent or if my truck will pull Tex. I don't know exactly if we can use our horse trailer to move Tex. But I would rather us be the ones to at least try to move Tex, because I do know for a fact that he's a whole lot more relaxed and calm around us than around anybody else. And so my biggest worry is that we hire an outfit who does this kind of stuff for rodeo bulls, and they come over here trying to rodeo, and they will, because that's what cowboys like to do. They put on their boots and they saddle up their horse and they get their dually pickup truck. They all have a dually. They all have dualies. They need 2 tires in the back, Jamie, to show they're a real cowboy. And they usually have the little nut sack hanging, the little fake nut sack that hangs in the back anyway, to show they're a real cowboy.
By the way, no woman is impressed by that.
Who does that?
No woman.
Who does that? But we don't need those kind of guys showing up over here and trying to unload their horses and get their ropes and their whips and their cattle prods and be making Tex go through all that. I don't think. Now, we know we have moved Tex. We've learned a lot about how to move Tex. And now I may be wrong. We may try and fail and try and fail, but I'm going to try first before I go out and find somebody to come move that bull. And I would so much rather us be able to move them ourselves than have to hire somebody, because I think that he's already going to be nervous. He's never been loaded. Well, I guess when he was a very, very young yearling, he got loaded, but that was from a professional loading chute. That was from a very large ranch who does this all the time. And so they were able to run Tex into a loading chute. If you don't know how that works, they start off with a large corral and they call the cows in just using feed. And once they're inside the corral, then they have these little hot shots that go around and they begin to separate them and run them into side fences, smaller little corrals. And in those smaller corrals, they have these chutes and turn left and turn right, and they can kind of guide them. And as they guide them, they're getting more and more narrow. Can you all see that? They're getting very, very narrow, to where at some point they make this turn and there's a trailer sitting there with an open door. And they start running these cows down those chutes. It's like a maze. And these cows are terrified because you got cattle prods and you have cowboys screaming and hollering and hands are clapping and you got all kinds of commotion. And these animals are terrified as they're running and looking behind them.
I hope that
and they turn that corner and there's that trailer and they go right up into it and they close the door. There you go. We're done.
I hope that he just surprises us, that it is calm, that we can get him into the original, his barn area where the trailer's backed up to, and that maybe it'll just happen. I know that's a big wish and a big hope and whatnot, but if it's not stressful and not like that, maybe it will. I don't know. Maybe we gotta have a scent of a woman up there or something. I don't know.
No, but we have reached out, and I've spoken to Dusty, who does the bison, and so if we need to look out and hire operations that can do it, then we'll do it by people that know what they're doing.
Yes.
And that have experience in moving things. And if we have to rebuild build some chutes, or do some stuff, then we will. But for the most part, all of our animals have come here and to be unloaded and live here forever. We've never had to load animals and move them other places. There's been a few that we've had to rehome for various reasons.
And the vet, but none of our big animals go to
no
the vet.
vets
The vet
come to
comes
us.
here.
So
even if it was a once a year thing or something like that, it's not frequent enough to where they're really great at it by any means. I think the biggest, or the only big that probably has that kind of experience is Dixie, from being
Dixie has been loaded and unloaded many times.
She's a trail horse and a parade horse, so that was really her life.
Yeah. Well, Moo.
Well, there's that.
Moo has been loaded and unloaded many times, because he's also was on, he did shows, and he was, traveled, very well traveled.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, Moo can load and unload, but as far as Tex, that's going to be, like Jamie said, we have a lot of questions, but the females, I don't think will be an issue. I can load them pretty easily. You saw us all load Pearl last year when we took her to her summer band camp getaway, fun day. But so we can load the females, but Tex will be a whole different issue. Yeah. All right, what's the last thing on your list? Because we are at our hour.
All I want to say is a friendly reminder that Mother's Day is next Sunday. So send some love to your moms. And if you are by chance a guy that's watching us, and your wife is a mom, or your mom is around, please send some love to them. It's just a reminder for all, those that need it. That's all.
And if you're a mom, do something for yourself.
Yes.
Because even if you don't have someone in your life that does a lot of that kind of stuff for you, do something for yourself that day. Just find the chance to give yourself a pat on the back, because being a mom and being a good mom is not easy. And all of the sacrifices that moms make for their kids it's a really neat thing that you women do. And none of us would be where we are today without having good moms. So,
true story.
All right. Well, we have a couple of letters or cards if y'all want to stick around for a few more minutes. I know a lot of people start dropping off. I just wanted to say that we do have some things to read. I'll read this one over here because it feels like a letter.
Oh, boy.
I like letters. You open one of those.
Okay.
Those look like cards to me.
Yeah.
I don't know for a fact. Now, everyone knows that sometimes you really can't read a letter. Some people do not want you to read one. Oh.
That's why you picked it.
No, I swear to God, I'm only gonna make it real small, but at the very, very top, oh, the light's too bright. It says, please read in the privacy of your own home, which means that you do not want me to read that one on camera, and I will honor that.
This says,
it's a card.
It's a card, as you were correct, and I can't see because it's reflective. Heard you got lots to smile about. And it says, congrats on Longhorn Lesters. Jamie and Lester, you both have worked extremely hard in order to be able to fulfill a dream. Relish in your success and enjoy these moments, and they will turn into memories. Thank you for allowing me to follow in your exciting journey. I'm so happy for you both. And Jamie, congrats on your promotion as well. And just know that I'm celebrating with you. And keep your head up high and keep rocking it. Sincerely, from Jennifer. Well, that was sweet.
That was sweet, Jennifer.
That's a golden retriever, and I love them.
Oh, this is very similar.
Oh, no. You got another one you can't read?
No, I think I can.
Oh, okay.
I think I can. So this over here, it says, Dear Lester, I just want to say congratulations on the wonderful acquisition of your dream property. Oh, how marvelous. How wonderful, as the old gospel song says. I know it must be a joy and music to your heart to be able to have a place that you, yourself purchased and can work on to the fulfillment of all of your dreams. And I will say that this is no knock on anything around here. We've been very blessed as a family. The Morrows have never had to pay for land because that price was paid by a great grandfather years ago with his service to the Confederacy. He was a soldier in the Civil War, and he was issued and given a land grant for his service. The South didn't have money to pay their soldiers, and so they paid them in land grants. And so this land was purchased by his service. And so all we've had to do is work it or maintain it and pay taxes. And so we've all been very blessed to have this land, and we've tried as hard as we could to keep it in the Morrow name. It's been passed down from father to son and father to son for generations, and that will continue. There's nothing going to change about that. But Longhorn Lester's is kind of getting off of so Longhorn Lester's, I'm trying to pick and choose my words very carefully here. Can you tell? Mm-hmm. Can you all tell? Longhorn Lester's is the first of any of the family to kind of like, I don't want to say branch off, but I'm going to say to branch out. And I did choose to purchase more land. Jamie's grabbing my leg. That means something. There's nothing that you really can't say that people don't already know. And so ultimately it is difficult because you have family members that are not real sure what you're doing or why you're doing it when it's always been done a certain way. And so I will never sell what I inherit because that's not what I was born and raised to love the land, and I will love it until the day I die. But as far as Longhorn Lester's go, it's been purchased, and it's mine. And it feels good to know that you've done something on your own. Well, I say on my own. Without all of you guys, it would have never happened. So we have done something on our own. And it is a touchy subject around here, but I have learned to take a lot of pride in shaping it the way I want it to be shaped. Like she said, you're doing it and you're able to fulfill it the way you want to see it done. And so that's awesome. But I can't take all the credit here because I have a sidekick that has helped me, and poor baby, she works from right over here most of the day, and I leave her every morning and I miss lunch and I try to get back and we have a dinner together, and I'm just exhausted. So I'm not much the romantic these days. I'm not able to come in and sweep her off her feet like I normally would because I'm tired. Stop making those facial expressions. Stop doing that, Jamie. There's a lot of people watching you make fun of me right now. But thank you for noticing that. And it's very powerful when you know that you've done something. But I still can't say I've done it on my own because, like I've said so many times, you all are the reason that this dream was made possible. Because without having this and having you, then I would have still lived a really good lifestyle. I'll one day inherit, land here, and I would work it like I work anyway, and I would raise my animals, and I would eventually deed it off and pass it on to my kids, who would hopefully continue the tradition. But because of our situation with Tex, because of the fact that we've acquired so many animals here as part of the sanctuary and some as part of our hobby and just our pastime, having more land is a plus. The fact that Plum Grove is flooding more often now than it's ever flooded in the past has always been a worry of ours. Seeing more and more development across the street terrifies us. Walking outside at night, hearing gunshots, all of the accidents that are happening on the roads. It takes an hour to leave the small town of Plum Grove in the mornings.
I want to talk a little bit about that because I know that there's a lot of questions going on in the comments right now. When we made the decision to
come love me just for a minute,
look for land outside of Plum Grove, there were a lot of factors into it that were very emotional and hard for Lester.
They still are.
And still
my
are.
Heart hurts as I do. My heart still hurts as I work.
And
because
their factors are exactly what Lester was talking about: the flooding, the safety, the future. This before Harvey, across the street were thousands of acres of woods, and now it's thousands of acres of thousands of homes, and a town that went from 600 people is now 45,000, and the future plans of that are 500,000 people. And
Plum Grove.
There's one road in and one road out, and current state, and this is no joke, to leave in the mornings, if you need to be anywhere between 6 a.m. and 9 a.m., you have to leave 1.5 hours early to get out of Plum Grove, which is 4 miles away, because there are so many people entering and exiting. And if there was ever a massive crisis that needed evacuation of all the people here, people would perish and the animals would perish. And that is sad and terrifying and very real to us. So I know there's a lot of people that say, how could you ever leave? How could you ever do that? We have to plan for the future. And while we are not spring chickens, I still believe that we have a significant amount of life left. And we have created a sanctuary, a home for all of these animals and for our children. And
what are you wearing?
Just sunglasses.
Hi, Ellie. How you doing?
I'm good.
All right, go ahead, baby.
And we're responsible for them. So to be able to have a place that, number one, allows us a plan B for current state, a long-term plan, but also a plan B for the next flood, the next hurricane, the next big issue that prevents us from providing the best life possible for these animals. This is what we have to do. And we don't talk about a lot of this. We don't talk about the big issues like this because it's very stressful to people to think. What we do know is that we do not have the power to change the future of Plum Grove, Texas.
We tried
hard.
We tried to fight, and a lot of people on the Facebook and YouTube remember those videos. We tried to use our voice to help support and make some changes, and we weren't loud enough, or we weren't squeaky enough. We weren't the squeaky wheel.
It's not that. It's that it goes much deeper than we ever knew. And in all of the efforts to change that, what we weren't doing was making the best efforts to plan for what we could control. And this is what we can control, and this is called doing what you can with what you have. So this is our future. And for a lot of people who are saying, will you eventually move? Will you eventually move? We've talked about that. We hope that it is long after Lex graduates high school and that everyone has had an opportunity to have their next plan B. We don't have intentions of building a house there and living there this fall or anything like that. This is our home, and this is the home of our animals.
I've talked about that,
yeah.
That I have a 10-year plan. I think 10 years. I think in 10 years, I would like to keep saving money, and I would like to build you a small house, because, like you say, in 10 years, it won't be where Lex will be out of high school. Ellie will be well on his way in life. And Xander will be all set in his ways. And so, but the thing is, I keep talking about this, and I know that Longhorn Lester's is my dream, but I want to make sure that this is also Jami's dream. And I know that Jami, more so than the purchase of the land, I know how much you'd love to have a home, a beautiful little home there. And so that was going to be the future is going to happen for Jami. Her dream is going to come true. And but that's going to be I would say at least 10 years.
Yeah.
So no time soon.
But there's no rush. Trust me. There's plenty on our plates, from working to taking care of the animals to taking care of both properties, making them, right now is a very busy time. Making Longhorn Lester suitable for the animals and safe for the animals is taking a lot of Lester's time. It takes the time that I can give. But y'all, I promise we're trying to share everything that we can in real time and bring you along with us on this journey. And we're also trying to leave as much of the negative and the drama out of it, because it's sad and it's heartbreaking, and it's really hard for our friends and family on social media to know that we've already accepted that we can't change the big picture. So what we can change is our picture. And that's what we're doing. And I hope that gives you some peace of mind as to the why and the what.
And I think that a lot of people, even though they're probably curious about what they're asking about and stuff, I think that you're mostly probably worried about what changes or how is this going to affect you in your life. And so the number one comment, the reason I even say that is because there have been so many people who keep saying, I'm going to miss beep when y'all moved them to Longhorn Lester's. Guys, understand something. Their video making is how I'm making a living. And so I will continue to make videos. There'll be some that will be videos of the animals here at the sanctuary because I'm still going to come over here every day. There's videos that will be made over at Longhorn Lester's because I'll still be going over there every day. So the trip back and forth is not a once you're there, you're done.
Oh, no.
It's every day. It's not a commute that you have to deal with. And like we talked about with the traffic, the commute that I'll make is between the rush hours.
Yeah.
I'm smart enough to know what time the traffic ends and what time it's over. And then I'll go over and do my job. Uh-oh, we have a low battery, which means that's God's way of saying it's time to shut it down. So no, I'll drive over and spend time at both places.
And there are a lot of farmers and ranchers who have two places, one where they live and one where they keep their animals. We will have animals at both. And we are a team, and we have support here as well. And we have built great relationships at Longhorn Lester's already with the neighbors, in addition to putting cameras up so that we can see and be aware and pay attention. And I promise you that we're going to learn a lot as we do this. And some of you may be like, I told you so, I told you so. And that's okay. It's totally okay. My mom tells me those things all the time and has for, almost 40 years now. Heck, Lester's been telling me for 4.5 now. It's okay. We will learn, and we will show you all of the trials and tribulations and challenges and hurdles and even some wins in there. And we're excited to do so. So I think we've gone way over our hour. Way over.
Yeah.
And my phone's dying, which you said is definitely God's way of saying, yeah, stop talking.
God's saying, shut it down, shut it down. Anyway, thank you guys for watching another edition of our Sanctuary Sunday with Lester, Hart, Jami. And we will see you guys later. Jami comes on Tuesday nights for her Timeout Tuesdays. And of course, my lives are Friday afternoons at noon.
P.S. I have a new special.
Ooh,
something special for Tuesday night that I can't wait to show y'all. We're gonna do something together. It's gonna be fun.
And of course, always lots of great videos every day of the week on the channels. So you guys, we appreciate you and we love you, and we don't ever think we have forgotten you in all of the neat things going on in our life, because without you, none of this would be possible. We'd still be doing what we do, just on a lot smaller scale. Right, baby?
That's true.
All right, guys, we're done.
Bye, y'all. Have a great day.